On the front row of the grid in pole position. Mick Grant there in the front row also, number 10, having a chat with Frenchman Christian Saron. Saron has a quick word in the ear of Mick Grant. Grant looking decidedly happy. There is number 31, also from France, Patrick Pons, teammate of Saron, and Pat Hedden from America. Will he be able to do what Steve Baker did last year? Number 1, Suzuki teammate to Sheen, Steve Parrish. And there's the Ted Broad Yamaha of number 8, Dave Potter. A beautiful machine. Sheen has a last check-up on everything. Up with the visor. His mechanics are still working at the back end of the Suzuki. They're being told to hurry up because the riders have got to go out and do two warming up laps to warm up the tires. 2 laps to go. Warm up laps only. The riders out here on slick tires. What is wrong? Sheen is not moving off the grid. What's the problem? As the smoke fills the air, Sheen is still there. Rain starting to fall, and that's what it is. Sheen has decided to change tires. He's going off a slick tire onto an intermediate tire because the rain is starting to fall, and Sheen has made the decision. The other riders have completed 1 warming up lap. Sheen looks at the back end of the Suzuki again, pulls it into gear. They've finished fitting the other wheel with the intermediate tire. They give him a push, the machine bursts into life, and away goes Barry Sheen. He will only have time for one warming up lap. The crowd look with consternation. What has happened to their favourite? Is he in trouble? They don't realise what has been happening. Warming up the machine still. There is a treaded tire as being used by one competitor. The flag is raised in gauge gear. And away they go. 77 race of the year is underway. And number 3, Pat Hedden goes, wheels in the air, into an immediate lead. Mick Grant with him, Barry Sheen also with him. But it's number 3, American Pat Hedden, into Gerard's Bend on the first lap, followed by number 10, Mick Grant on the big Kawasaki. It's Hedden leading Grant from Sheen as they go streaming around Gerard's Bend. Dave Potter's right there in 7th place. Down Steve Straight and into the Lake S's, a right and left-hand bend. So it's still number 3, Hedden in the lead. Grant, they've already pulled away and opened up a gap from Sheen. The Herpin on lap 1, and it's still Hedden leading Grant with Sheen in 3rd place. As they stream round the Herpin, sorting themselves and jockeying for position. End of lap 1, Hedden, Grant, Sheen, Marshall. And look at the front end of the machine dip as they brake hard going into Gerard's. Grant has closed up. Grant has closed right up on the back end of the leader. Hedden, Grant, Sheen, still with it, knee right out. And remember that Barry Sheen is riding here with a leg that's giving him great pain. He didn't even practice yesterday in the wet because he's a trapped tendon in the knee, but now lying in 3rd place. And the 2 leaders starting to open up a gap ahead of him. Marshall still in 4th place. Number 9, John Williams in 5th, but up the inside, Hedden on the inside, Grant on the outside, doing his best to get past on lap 4. He can't quite make it, but Sheen moves across the seat of that machine as he goes down the Devil's Elbow. He's coming back at them again. He's coming back at the 2 leaders. Round Gerard's on lap 5, and it's still Hedden in the lead. Grant in 2nd place, and Sheen is closed up. Sheen is closed right up again. He's in the slipstream. Marshall still in 4th, and Sheen goes down the inside. Sheen outbreaks them both as they go into the S's. So it's number 7, Barry Sheen, back in the lead, and number 3, Hedden is there with him. Grant tries to go inside. Marshall in 4th, John Williams in 5th, Stan Woods in 6th. Down into the start and finish area, it's still Sheen from Hedden and Grant. And already look at the gap. They've increased their lead over the 4th place man. Sheen now some 2 machines lengths ahead of Hedden, using every inch of the road right out to the white line, going down the back Steve Straight. 3 of them, the full length of the straight ahead of Roger Marshall. So here it is again, Sheen, Hedden, Grant. The world champion out in front, and even the spectators get as high a vantage point as they can. The front end of the machine come up as they change gear. The 2 Suzukis with the front end up, the Kawasaki. still on the ground, but still with them. 125 horsepower being fed into the back wheel of each of these three machines. And look at that, up number 3 goes on the inside of Sheen, going into Gerard. So it's Hennon back in the lead of Sheen in second place, and Mick Grant Kawasaki still in third place. And in the S's, the bit between his teeth now, it's Pat Hennon, opened up a gap already of some 15 yards. Hennon in the hairpin. Sheen, Grant goes inside Sheen in the hairpin to take second place. So it's Grant back in second. Sheen moves across the machine again as they go down into the Devil's Elbow, but it's Hennon right out in front. Mick Grant has got this Kawasaki in a Suzuki sandwich. Marshall still in fourth with John Williams in fifth place. And number 8, Dave Potter, up in the sixth. So Roger Marshall now in fourth place. And the boys at the tail end of the field sorting themselves out as the leaders press on. So remember, the leader is still American, Pat Hennon. And there he goes into the hairpin with Grant still right on his tail. Suzuki versus Kawasaki. Dropping off Barry Sheen again. Sheen trying all he knows to get back with him. But Hennon's really on his way now, and Grant's going with him. Grant is staying with him. Here they go again. Round Gerards they go. Barry Sheen is dropping that little bit further behind. Has he made the big mistake of going on to an intermediate tire? He has a little look down at the left of the machine. The slick tire's warmed up now, and there goes one rider. It's Roger Marshall. Marshall and the machine part company, but Marshall's on his feet. He walks away, and he's perfectly okay. And Roger Marshall, the back end of the machine, sliding away as he overbrakes, coming out of Gerard's. The Marshals pick up the machine, and Roger Marshall is perfectly okay.
Well, obviously, wouldn't if he's okay. There's Sheen through in third place, then having got past Dermy on the preceding.
And Marshall gets himself to a safe position, limping a little, but he's quite all right. He goes over the straw bales to get out of the way of any other mishap that could happen on this Gerard's Bend. Back to the start and finish area, and it's Hennon. Hennon goes through. He's some 30-40 yards ahead of Mick Grant now. Mick Grant safely established in second place. Barry Sheen has dropped back quite a long way in third. Out goes the knee as he flicks down a gear and goes into Gerard. Hennon, legs parallel with the ground. His leathers actually touching the deck at one stage. Grant still with him. Into the S as they go. Hennon in the lead. Grant, his machine twitching as he comes round the second part of this S bend. Sheen not looking as happy now as he was. And here we've number 15, Stan Woods. Stan Woods trying to go around the outside of number 22, the Finnish rider, Pekka Nurmi, using every inch of the road to do so. Woods is there, and away down Steve Straight. There goes the leader, Pat Hennon again. Front end up. Kawasaki still behind him. Sheen still trying to get to terms with him, but still losing ground. Moving back across the seat as he comes down into the start and finish area. The treacherous downhill section, the Devil's Elbow. Now he goes into Gerard's. As the leaders come out of Gerard's, it's Grant still neatly tucked behind that furling of the Kawasaki. Hennon down into the Lake Esses, braking hard, the front end dipping again. Grant trying very, very hard to get with him. Sheen some 45, 50 yards behind. And Sheen round the hairpin. And already the other two boys have disappeared down round the Devil's Elbow. And Sheen goes through. Into Gerard's he goes this time. And already the other two riders, Hennon on the Suzuki and Mick Grant on the Kawasaki, have disappeared from view. Dave Potter still trying to get back with Stan Woods in fourth and fifth position. And so the race goes on. The leader now lapping the back markers. Hennon number 3 just coming up on a back marker, but Mick Grant is striving to stay with him. There's Barry Sheen well behind now, not looking at all comfortable, not going down behind the screen early as he comes out of the Lake Esses. Hennon in underneath the slow rider. Mick Grant round the outside of the same rider and not letting Hennon get away from him. Excellent Sheen. Sheen now looks down. He takes his hand off the handlebars, feels the left-hand exhaust pipe. The top one of these 4 exhausts coming off this 4-cylinder Suzuki. His legs out. Sheen is coming into the pits. Barry Sheen is coming into the pits. There's something wrong with the back end of that Suzuki. Was it an exhaust pipe or was it tire trouble? Remember, he went on to intermediate tires. He's looking down at the back of the machine. They are working at something at the back of the machine. What was the problem?
Well, I changed the tyre on the line to an intermediate because I thought it was going to rain, but it was going okay. I was up the front and I dropped back a little bit because I didn't want to make the tyre too hot, you know. So I thought if I can just stay in the hunt, you know, until the end of the race, the tyre won't shred, and I may stand in front. Then I could feel something bumping on the back of the bike and I wasn't sure what it was. Then I got a signal to say the exhaust pipe had come unbolted and it was banging on the wheel, and that's...
You weren't actually aware that it was the pipe was the problem?
No, I could feel something banging. It's like someone banging the back of the bike with a hammer, you know, but I didn't know what it was.
Well, the fact that you went on to the intermediate tires and the other 2 boys were still on the slicks, did you find that it was any disadvantage to you?
It would have been towards the end of the race. That's why I was backing off a little bit, so as not to get it too hot. But at the end of the race, it would have been impossible with the intermediate.
So this year, the race of the year is not yours? Anyway.
No, it wasn't last year either, never mind.
So, 2 years in a row, and bad luck, Barry Sheen. But here we have the race leader now coming up to half distance in this 54-mile race, and it's still Pat Hennon on the Works Suzuki leading Mick Grant on the Works Kawasaki. The battle now is also on for 3rd place between Dave Potter and Stan Woods. And it's Woods, Stan Woods in 3rd place, number 15. And we have, of course, number 31, Patrick Pons, the Frenchman, in between Woods and Potter. So Stan Woods leads Pons with number 8, Potter on the broad Yamaha, back there in 5th position. Number 30, of course, is Christian Saron, leading from John Williams, the other Frenchman, Christian Saron. And back at the S's, it's still Hennon and Grant picking up the back marker. Hennon again into the hairpin, riding immaculately. The same line every time, the front wheel in the air at the same position, and Grant is not letting him get away. Grant is still with him. So number 3, the American, Pat Hennon, determined to do what Steve Baker did last year, and win the race of the year. Dave Potter goes up the inside of Woods at the hairpin, and Woods goes up the inside of Potter, while number 31 goes right round the outside of both of them. Patrick Pons is now in 3rd place, the Frenchman. Patrick Pons up into 3rd, ahead of number 15, Stan Woods. So with the French rider leading both the English riders, away they go round this very fast. Gerard's bend, Pons in the lead of the 2 of them. And down goes Pons. Pons is down. He slides across the track. The machine goes clear of him. He hits the straw bales, but he picks himself up. He waves to the crowd, and Patrick Pons, after that sensational start, is perfectly okay. What actually happened? The back end of the machine slid away, and at the speed he was going, he couldn't control it, but he's quite all right as he goes over and speaks to Roger Marshall, who came down earlier in the race. And the race still goes on. The yellow flag is being waved to warn other riders that one rider has gone onto the grass and is down. Number 15, Stan Woods now up into 3rd place, and Dave Potter still on his tail in 4th. Number 30, Christian Saron, the other Frenchman, was still in there. Potter now in 4th place, chasing for all he knows. And he takes his left arm off the machine. A slight bit of cramp setting in there. The leader, Pat Hennon, still ahead of Mick Grant by some 30-40 yards. The hairpin completely quiet now. Such is the lead that these 2 boys have over the next men. The tail enders still going around. Stan Woods, of course, in 3rd place. The rider from Chester, Stanley Woods, there he is, number 15, Stan Woods in 3rd place, well and truly established. Now that Patrick Pons is gone, Dave Potter trying all he knows to get back with him, and Mick Grant, number 10, comes out of Gerard, still on the heels of the hunt, still with the leader, Pat Hennon, as he goes into the Lake S's. So it's Hennon, Grant, well out ahead of third place man, Stan Woods. Stanley Woods still followed closely by Dave Potter. So we've two races going on here now, one for the lead and one for third place. Hennon round the hairpin again, the same line every time. Grant still on his heels, but there are slower riders up ahead. Is this going to create an upset? And one of those riders is John Newbold. There's John Williams, Ron Haslam, three very, very fast men about to be lapped. 15 Woods still ahead. 15 Woods is still ahead of Dave Potter on the Ted Broad Yamaha. And they're also getting mixed up with back markers. Woods goes to go to the left, then he changes his mind and goes to the right. And Potter has taken advantage of that mistake and moved ahead of Woods. Dave Potter is up into third place now. Stan Woods in fourth. As they swoop round, and you can see that even the tail enders are on machines that are almost as powerful as the leaders. Hennon in the hairpin, a very wide line, a very, very wide line, and he allows Grant to close up a little bit, and they're really mixed up with the tail enders now. And the tail enders, of course, being men of the caliber of John Williams, Ron Haslam, and John Newbold. John Newbold now in the lead of the group. And there's Woods again. Potter trying to go around the outside him. He can't quite make it. He has to pull in behind him once more as they go into the devil's elbow. Pat Hennon has pulled away from Grant a little bit because of that mix-up. And John Newbold has become the meat in the sandwich now. John Newbold, who is being lapped, is now lapping as quick as the leaders. And he's keeping Mick Grant back that little bit. Grant must be cursing under his breath as he tries to get back with the leader, Pat Hennon. Newbold is holding him out. In fact, Newbold is pulling away a little bit from Grant and trying to close himself and Hennon. Even Hennon, taking advantage of this situation, has now moved up a gap and opened up a gap of some 20 yards. There's Hennon, Newbold, Grant. So, John Newbold suddenly gets a new lease of life. At three-quarter distance, he gets a new lease of life, but unfortunately, he's making things very awkward for Mick Grant. Newbold, with his knee right on the deck at the aces, switches his machine from right to left, and there's Woods. Woods is ahead of Potter, and Potter is some 3 machines lengths back, making Ted Broad, his sponsor, very, very happy. Back in the pits, Ted Broad will know that Dave Potter is trying all he knows out here in the circuit to get his Yamaha ahead of Stan Woods. But can he do it? He's still with them. As they go away, wheels come up in the air again. The back ends twitch as the power churns on. Down they come into the start and finish area, and it's still Woods ahead of Potter. Woods and Potter again in third and fourth places. And already we look for the leader. The leader must be coming round now. There he is. Pat Hennon, number 3, is coming up to close up even on the third and fourth place men. And Grant has got past Newbold. The road is clear again. He can have another go. He can have another go at the leader, Pat Hennon, having got John Newbold out of his way. There goes number 4, Ron Haslam, on the Ferro Yamaha, entered by Mal Carter, that bright and cherry sponsor from Halifax. Grant trying it again to get back with the leader, Hennon. And Potter has slid through on the inside of Stan Woods. Potter is back into third place, Stan Woods in fourth. There they go again. Potter is maintaining that little lead. He has a very slender lead over Stan Woods. Look at the knees come out as they come down. 2 gears for Gerard's Bend. Hennon again peers in view, and there comes Grant, but Hennon is going away from Grant. Hennon is really going away from Grant. He's now got the fastest lap at 97.98 miles an hour, 3.2 miles an hour slower than Steve Baker's lap record last year of 101.25. But Hennon is well on his way to prove that America are still producing wonderful riders. Is it going to be the second year in a row that America has won this Mallory Park Race of the Year? And back to third place. Third place is still Dave Potter in the Broad Yamaha. And still in fourth place it's Stan Woods, the Chester rider. But he's trying to get back with him. And here they come, here they come. It's the leader, Pat Hennon, round, approaching the last lap. And Pat Hennon goes through. He must be out on the last lap now. Number 3, Pat Hennon, what a wonderful race he's ridden. and he's pulling away now from Mick Grant. Mick Grant knows that the race is virtually over, and no way in one lap can he pull back the vital seconds needed to get out this winner position. But what a wonderful race Grant has ridden on the Kawasaki. No teammate to help him as Titchburn went out at the very start of the machine that wouldn't start. And now they come into the hairpin for the last time. It's still Pat Hennon in the lead. For Suzuki GB, on the work Suzuki. Down he goes round the Devil's Elbow with Grant in second place. And there's the checkered flag for American. Pat Hennon taking the race of the year. And is he elated? Look at his arm up in the air as Mick Grant gets the checkered flag. He's overjoyed to win the race of the year 2 years in a row to America. Mick Grant gives a gentle wave to the crowd, but Pat Hennon goes wild. And he reaches out and shakes hands with Mick Grant as they go round Gerard. 1,500 pound cup under his belt. And is he elated? Look at this, he's even standing on the seat, kicks his right leg in the air. But back we go for that fantastic third place dice between Dave Potter and Stan Woods, and it's Potter. Potter crosses the line in third place with Stan Woods from Chester in fourth. What a dice they've had.
All right.
What was your feeling once Barry had dropped out in the 16th lap?
When I was given signs that he did drop out, I was really curious as to why. You know, Barry hasn't had best luck this year with mechanics like at Silverstone with the Grand Prix. At the beginning, it was, you know, I knew it would be important to get a good start, and then also with the weather changing, Bayer changed over to wet weather tires, and so, you know, of course, I was starting to think to myself, because it was getting wetter and wetter, and if it actually maintained as wet as it did at the beginning, he would have had the advantage, and it would have been his race, provided he had no mechanical defects.
Sure.
But then as it turned out, 10 laps, 7 laps, something like that, it started drying, and then it became my fever.
And how do you feel now?
I feel delighted, man.
Fantastic. Pat Hennon this year, last year Steve Baker, American 76 and America 77. Pat Hennon will come back again next year and spend a full season in Europe, but we hope that next year the race of the year will give him an even better challenge from Britain. But an elated Pat Hennon, the winner of the 1977 Mallory Park Race of the Year, waves his American Stetson hat high in the air and shows with the laurel wreath round his neck that America are still producing top-class riders.